Good afternoon and welcome. I am Colonel Vern Beitzel. I'm the Director of Admissions. We're glad that you're here today and hope that we will provide a lot of information for you that's going to help the transition for your sons and daughters this fall. What we're going to do is have some presentations and provide the information that will help, as I said, prepare your sons and daughters for matriculation and their entire cadetship. Most of the communication that you've had so far in this journey has been with us in the admissions office. We're going to be handing you off today to a number of other individuals and offices that you'll be probably in closer contact with over the next four-year period. But please let me assure you that we're available by phone or however to answer any questions you have or help you along the way. We're going to begin today with some greetings and information from some of the key administration officials. We'll begin with some comments from General P. He will be followed by Brigadier General Bob Mareschi, who is the Deputy Superintendent for Academics and Dean of the Faculty. Then the Commandant, Colonel Bill Wanovich. You'll also hear from Colonel Jamie Inman, who will present some information on Matriculation Day, which will, as you probably already are aware, is August 17th this year. There will be a panel following that of some of the individuals that are very involved in different aspects that are important to you right now. We hope that you'll be able to get some information and ask them some general questions. And then we'll close the afternoon by we'll move to the Hall of Valor, and there are a number of tables that are there and give you a chance to walk around and talk with a lot of different offices, pick up some information and gather the materials that might be helpful for you. We're going to have a break in there somewhere, but we think we don't want to keep you too long. We know you have to get on the road, but we do want to provide some information that we think will be helpful to you. It's a pleasure to have with us this afternoon for some brief remarks VMI's 14th Superintendent, a member of the VMI class of 1962, General J.H. Binford P. III. Please welcome General P.
Well, welcome to the Virginia Military Institute, and warmest congratulations to each of you. Your sons and daughters will enter RAT class, hard to believe, 54 days from today on Matriculation Day here at VMI, and we certainly look forward to seeing a number of you at that time as well. And shortly after that, hard to believe, less than about 5.5 months, they'll break out, and soon they'll be the class of 2023, sometime in the January, February time frame of next year. Promise you. It will go quicker than you can ever envision. So just relax now and everything's going to be okay. This was really a very, very competitive selection this year. We had 1,632 applications and 18,000 plus inquiries to come to VMI in this particular class. These are not final statistics. I'll give those to you on Matriculation Day when you come back to the Institute. We've appointed so far 951, which is about a 58% acceptance rate. About 1 in 2 that applied will come to VMI here as part of this incoming RAT class. We anticipate a class size of somewhere between 510 and 515 cadets in August, 30 transfers, 108 recruited athletes, 80 females, 35 states, 4 foreign countries, 60% Virginians, 40% non-Virginians, GPA of 3.63 to date, average SAT of about 1190 in the top third of their high school class. So it's a very, very good class, and congratulations again to each of you. Okay, Summer Transition Program, STP. It is not the RAT line at VMI, okay? So let's understand that right away. There's a lot of free time. A lot of time parents say, what are you doing? I thought I sent them to VMI. I want them challenged. And say that day is going to come. But that's not this particular summer session. But it does give a chance to take some of the mystique out of VMI. Take some of the mystique out of VMI. Give them a chance to take a course, whether it's a course to get ahead or of course they think they may have some challenges with. They get a chance to learn the post. They certainly get their computer set up and all of that kind of requirement ahead of time. They get an opportunity to work on their fitness. Their boots are delivered to them so they can break those in early so they don't get blisters and those kinds of challenges. And they make friends, and in this particular short 4-week period, they make friends and classmates for life. It's amazing the number, a lot of them room together when they come out of this particular session, but this starts this great bonding and friendship for life. It'll take place over the next 4 weeks. When you pick them up here for that short break before they come back, you'll hear the stories. And we don't see a major difference in between those that come to summer transition programs and those that do not. It's about the same. Again, it's not the rat line. It's basically just a U.S. college for this particular summer. Our graduation rate at 4 years runs about 67, 68%. That's pretty darn good in an adversarial system. And at the 6-year mark, 76, 77%, which is excellent, again, in an adversarial system. You can go to colleges across the country today and their graduation rate is 35%. Really, our numbers are almost in the upper 70s at the finish of that 9th semester where you have a lot of athletes that stay to play football in that 5th year, or you have some engineering courses. Some of those, as we put a 5-year engineering program into a 4-year degree, may take them another half of a year or 1 semester to finish up. So, you know, it's not our intent to not make cadets successful. It's not our intent to have attrition and run them out of there. We're trying to make these young men and women wonderful leaders for peace and war and go ahead, whatever their choice of occupation is, to be have a very, very great success in life. If they will live by the honor system, this is a place where you can help. If they will live by the honor system, and we're going to spend an enormous amount of time, the first 5 minutes when they're up in those barracks, they're going to start learning that honor system. That's how important it is to all of us and to our alumni. If they will do that, I promise you, they will graduate from VMI. Now, it may take them a 9th semester, another year, but trust me, they will graduate from VMI if they will just live by this honor system. I encourage to live a life of honor. It's the most cherished thing that our alumni have. And as I mentioned, we will have significant instruction in that when they get back. For the next 4 years, your cadets are going to hear me say over and over, and I've been repeating these thematics now for a number of years here at VMI. Be on parade 24/7. And that includes furloughs, Christmas time, over the summer, when you're down at Daytona Beach, wherever they go on Easter vacation, you know, be on parade 24/7. Be civil in conduct and have respect for all. Lord knows our country needs that right now, don't they? You know, be civil in your conduct and have respect for all. And live honorably. And if they will lead those 3 thematics, I promise you, I've seen it over and over again, they're going to be very, very successful in life, whether it's running your family, a major requirement in your community, or serving the nation. Commissioning. I think a number of you have been here for open houses. You've probably heard me talk a little bit about that. I strongly, strongly encourage commissioning, and I encourage to make a decision early. You can make this decision 1 week before graduation. I will figure a way to get your son or daughter commissioned. Both my sons did that, and you know, I'm still angry at them today. Right? There's significant financials associated with being paid that monthly payment for the next 4 years. And you can get into that a little bit earlier, and then it probably has a training value that we don't have to crunch into you here, and then send you to summer camp after you graduate in June and get commissioned in January and be on your way. So we'll do it that way, and we do that with a lot of cadets today. I have a lot of cadets today that call or write me 14 days after graduation. Say, oh, General P., I made a mistake. Can you help me go to officer candidate school? And of course, I'm thrilled if they want to go do that, so I say certainly. And then, you know, we get our team together and we call every contact we know and we get them into OCS and get them on their way. And I say, gee, your mom and dad just paid for an education. In fact, it's even more substantial than that. It's not just not the monthly stipend. If they maybe make a commitment to commission early, they're probably going to find it they have a chance to get a darn good scholarship for a year or 2 years or maybe 3 years. Incredible number of 3-year scholarships we have here at VMI. So I push commissioning. I don't push it to stay in the service for a career. I never was going to stay in. Kids don't know what they're going to do at this age. They don't know. But our model is very different, as you've heard me say before. Serve a short 4 years. I'm sure the Chief of Staff of the Army doesn't like me to say this, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, the Commandant of the Marine Corps. Get out. Go to one of our 25 partnership schools that facilitate your chance to get a graduate degree and then go on to your chosen profession. That's the difference between us and our wonderful service academies. You know, we are truly the citizen soldier model. And you don't have to commission active. You can go guard or reserve. Okay, enough of the recruiting thing tonight. Okay, I feel very strongly about this because we're going to give your son or daughter an incredible bunch of leadership understandings that make them better. But we cap it off. If you just go serve in the armed services. I just got back from Germany last night, 0100, you know? And I looked at some of our cadets over there that have gone through this. A number of them are going to get out. But I mean, I just watch them grow like weeds because they tap off now what you give you here and you're on your way. So that's kind of my pitch now on all of that. 57% of last year's graduating class took a commission at graduation. It's the highest in, I don't know, 20, 25 years. It'll be greater than that in next year's graduating class in 2020. Probably be somewhere around 60%. There are many publications at VMI, and they're on the web. And I know sometimes it's hard to find those things on the web, but you'll get used to it. You know, you've got to navigate and come to those. Let me just mention 5 of them today that I do encourage you to, of the hundreds that are out there, that I encourage you to take a look at. First is Vision 2039, Focus on Leadership. We put that in place in 2003. We have not changed one word. It's got 14 objectives and goals. I'm not going to go through all of those. But that's the vision for 2039, or for your son or daughter. We picked 2039 because it's sort of a little bit of a marketing thing. That's VMI's 200th anniversary. I encourage you to read that. It's not very long. Easy reading, but it really starts to set the context of what we're trying to do here. There's a new cadet handbook. That's probably one of the more important things that you do need to look at here because that's going to tell you how many pairs of socks to bring and underwear and sheets and all those kinds of things. Introduce yourself to some acronyms and take some of the mystique out of this. It's a very good handbook. It is a very good handbook. And I mean, it's accurate. It'll answer your questions. So that's out there, and that's a must. And then there's a Parents' Council handbook, which is sort of the cousin to the VMI handbook that, you know, is a little bit easier reading maybe and has some parents' thoughts on what they went through. And it's a very good handbook as well. And I think that'll give you some assurance in a number of things here, particularly in this first year. There is in every cadet's room a book, a notebook-sized book. It's called the VMI Leadership Opportunities Inventory. It's also up on the web. Now, you're probably not that important this first 6 months while in the rat line because they're not going to have time for a lot of this. But after they get out of the rat line, and particularly now as they start their 3rd class year, it lays out by year the leadership opportunities at VMI, and there's a myriad of them. You just don't have to have cadet rank to get through this leadership educational experience. I mean, it's more than just being on the athletic field. It could be running Rat Challenge. It could be something in the EMTs. It could be running the theater. Take the business club to New York City. All of this cadet run, cadet managed. Now, we oversee it. We resource it. But I don't think there's a school in the country that's got the leadership opportunities. Don't let your son or daughter sit up in these rooms on a Friday night or Saturday night. You know, let's get involved here through 4 years of this experience and grow in leadership. There's a lot of fun in this. An awful lot of fun. And then there's the last one. There's the superintendent's annual parents letter. It should be in your mailbox, I think, no later than mid-July. Sent it to the printers here late last week. It just has a lot of information that hopefully is helpful to you. It has some things that I ask you to help me with to try to make the course successful. Please take the time. I do this every year. So every year, if you do one thing for me, read that, 8, 9, 10, 12 pages, read it cover to cover and try to help your son or daughter here at VMI by some of the things that we're asking you to help us with. This, well, even now, but when you drop your son or daughter off here now in 54 days, I know, I've been there too. My parents have been there. I really understand it now being a parent. It's a stressful time for you. And we here are keenly aware of that. You know, they call home. A lot of times they're crying. I cried, okay? So I'm a little bad. Ashamed of that now. He's looking back. But, you know, a lot of stress, and so they call home and they tell you this young 5'1" corporal got in my face and made it a rough afternoon for me, or the football coach just sat me on the bench because I fumbled last weekend. I'm not doing well in calculus. I got some demerits. I got to walk a penalty tour Saturday. I'm getting yelled at. My feet hurt. Okay, that happens. And then they hang up and you and your spouse are sitting there. Now you're stewed up, right? You're worried. I've been there. Because we all care about our kids. We all care about our kids. Stressful. So then you stew on that all week long. All week long you stew on that. And then next Saturday, you know, after they've had some kind of a workout here till about 5 in the afternoon, and it's really been hard, and then you finally get them on the phone, or they call you, and you say, well, what happened to Corporal Wiggins? What did he do to you? And they don't even know what you're talking about. They've forgotten all that. So I don't want you to stew with all that. You are going to do it. It's natural. We're all parents. You know, we understand that. So you got a lot of people you can check with. If it doesn't sound right, I mean, there could be something that's really wrong. We all make mistakes. We're not perfect at VMI. We think we run a pretty good show here, but, you know, we make mistakes too. So if you think something's wrong, there are a number of people to get hold of. So talk to a member of the Parents' Council. I mean, they're experienced. 75, 80 or so of those here that have been through this, and we give them updates with regularity, and I found they're very believable. They're probably more believable than we at the Institute are, right? So talk to them and see if you can't get a little bit more depth of what may be going on to your child. This Sergeant Major to the Corps. Where's Sergeant Major Sowers? There he is over there. Sergeant Major to the Institute and the Corps of Cadets. You know, he knows exactly what's going on, probably more than all of us. Pick up the phone and call him. Pick up the phone and call him. Each of your children have an academic advisor that stays with you for 4 years. So if there's something there, particularly if it's grades or something else that may have come wrong, talk to that academic advisor. And if he or she doesn't know, I'm sure that they will find out and get back to you. And then there's Colonel Inman, my Chief of Staff, Jamie Inman, over here. Okay, combat veteran. Been here a long time now. He runs the Institute. Everything evolves around the Chief of Staff at VMI. Pick up the phone and call him. And if none of that works, call me. Okay? I know you're bashful to do that. Call me. I've had a policy now for 17 years. I answer every phone call and I answer every letter that comes to me at VMI. I think that's a good policy. I'll get into it. And I can do it in a way that's not going to put your son or daughter at risk and all of that kinds of concerns that you have. So if you think something's wrong, really wrong, don't sit on it. Let's run it to ground, and then we'll get on here with the rest of the training that we do here at the Institute. Reinforce, particularly now as you get beyond this rat year, because I won't probably have a chance to talk to you individually like this now after we get going. Reinforce that there's a reason for the rules here at VMI. And the best course of action is just to obey the rules. Now, I didn't say that you can't have fun and do some things. You know, you'll learn terms they call running the block. That means that, you know, have taps at 2300 at night, and they try to sneak out after taps and go downtown, or maybe go to JMU and have a date or something like that, right? And that's okay. That's part of the game at VMI. That's part of the game. But when you get caught, fess up. Okay? And so I think the best rule of thumb as a parent is to just sort of stress, be a good cadet. Play the system. The system's been terribly, terribly successful at VMI. So when you start to go around the system, inevitably what I find now, after 17 years of watching this, now that's where we start to get an honor problem. It's not an honor problem if you say, sir, you caught me. Fine. I mean, you may have to walk some penalty tours, but there's no honor, there's no dishonor associated with that. So maybe the way to think about it is be on parade 24/7, live an honorable life. I mean, we're all going to get in some trouble here. You don't get through this place without something happening. It certainly happened to me. So encourage that there are rules for a reason, and your best course of action is just obey the rules, particularly if it's something significant. Something significant. At this stage, I really offer and encourage that parents encourage their sons and daughters. It's not an easy first year. It's harder, straight talk, it's harder than the system at our wonderful service academies. Service academies couldn't begin to have the kind of leadership latitude that we give our thirds and our seconds and our first-classmen. It's a different system, the national level. We're a state-supported school, and so more flexibility here. And encourage them through all 4 years, through all 4 years of their cadetship. It's adversarial, it's physically demanding, it's mentally hard. This is a nationally ranked academic school now, as you know from your research. There's a lot of structure, and it's physical. So it's a demanding course of instruction. And I want to tell you one more time that we're not trying to attrit cadets. We're trying to make cadets successful. And be proud now that you and they came to this particular decision. Now, this time flies quickly, and you're probably saying, oh, General P., I'm just trying to get through the next 4 months here at VMI. You're trying to talk about these 4 years. And I am. So let me try to describe sort of the way I look at this 4-year leadership experience. And I've watched this now over 17 years. It's a 4-year journey. It's just not the rat year here at VMI. And it progressively gets more demanding in a different way, not necessarily the physicality way, but academics get harder, those kinds of challenges. So it's just not your rat year. So if you look at this rat year, and the Commandant's going to talk a little bit about it, and so is the Chief of Staff. You know, you get through that first 9 days here, and then the Old Corps comes back on that Sunday, 9 days after matriculation. We put them out here on North Post, somewhat of a crucible on a hot August day. They do very well. All kinds of things go on in those 9 days, and then they march down in front of Preston Library, and I take the review there, and you say, my goodness, look at the change at them in 9 days. I can tell you there's not an active duty unit that does what these first-classmen, led by the first class, the other 3 classes in the cadre training, what they do from issuing books, get their uniforms on, start to learn how to march, understand the honor system, learn the regulations, and they're underway. Incredibly what gets done in this 9-day period. And then the classes start that 10th day. A couple weeks later, maybe a little bit less than that, they're at Newmarket, 80 miles here to the north, and they take their oath on that battlefield. 6 home football games this fall. A lot of chances to see your youngster. Football Saturdays are special days at VMI. And we're going to win a lot more this year than we have in the last couple years, okay? And then the next thing you know, they're in Thanksgiving furlough. Then they're in the Christmas furlough. And then they come back. That's not fun. That's hard. You know, you come over that hill. I did it coming over to Richmond. You come over that hill and look over there and see that yellow prison. No leaves on the trees. Right? But let me tell you, there's a big difference. You're going to take this to the bank. They're going to come home, and that doesn't have a thing to do with what I would say about their wonderful high school classmates. They will have hardly anything in common with them. So they go home Christmas. You know, they're not going to be in the frat boy, frat girl, sorority thing. I remember it like yesterday, and that's what they're going to tell you. And what's going to be interesting happen is they can't wait to get back here. Okay? Hard as it is, they can't wait to see Johnny Jones or Sarah Smith. We've all been there. Isn't it funny? You know, I remember this from 1958, like it was yesterday. And that doesn't mean they're going to divorce themselves from their high school friends. But I'm telling you, it's a whole new set of friends now. It starts this 4 weeks. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. So that's that fourth class year. And then they break out of that rat line, and then we got a lot of training that we do with them, not adversarial training, and navigation, and first aid, and all those kinds of things. Next thing you know, that year's over with. And then they're back here for the third class year. Now, this third class year, no one likes you, right? The thirds don't like you. They're administering the rat line. The first classmen don't like you because you're picking on their dike. No one likes you. It's kind of an interesting year. Got the philosophy of all this stuff. It's different. And academics get harder. Academics get harder. And then the second class year is a quiet year. It's ring feeder, get your class ring, big deal. A lot of fun. Now you're getting into your major in greater details with great instructors who are going to make it really good for them. And then before you know it, your first class year is here. You run the Corps, right? Where did the 4 years go? Where did the 4 years go? Like yesterday. And that's the last time they'll be with their classmates for years. Some of them may not come back here for 50 years. Some may be back here for the 5th and their 10th and their 15th year reunion. It's usually your 25th and 50th year reunions where all of them come back together. It's like they never left. It's like they never left. So final thoughts. Many say VMI is a great place to be from. And that's true. But VMI is a great institution, and it's fun going through it. And cadets have fun going through VMI. They have a social life. They have fun going through VMI. It's just a different kind of fun than some other colleges and universities in our wonderful country. We are thrilled to have you in the VMI family. Hard to believe, but you'll be back here shortly after this 4-week session. Pick them up, get them out for a couple of days, and listen to the stories, listen to the friendships they've already made. Come back in here. We'll put them in a rat line. You're going to be very, very proud you sent your son or daughter to VMI. Here we go. Thanks.
Good afternoon. Good. So glad to have you here. I'm going to take a few minutes to tell you a bit about the academic program. Some of this, if you've been at open house, you may recall, but there's some new information here, and of course to reiterate some things from open houses that are, I think, important as you get your son or daughter off here at STP. So, reminder, what are we all about with our mission? Honorable men and women, a love of learning, undergraduate education of the highest quality, and facilitated and conducted in the military discipline system. Our faculty, 145 full-time faculty, about 30 full-time equivalent part-time faculty, right? They teach from this perspective, right? This is not just words in a mission statement. They're not just words that apply to what goes on in barracks or what goes on in ROTC. It applies to everything at VMI, including the academic program. We want your son or daughter not only to learn and succeed academically, but to love learning and so become a lifelong learner. We want this, and we do have a very high-quality education system as you look at some of the publications that talk about ranking academic programs. We want them to be honorable. We expect them to be honorable. We presume they're honorable until they do something, and if they do something that suggests that they're not. That's why we don't proctor exams, right? It'd be an affront to their honor to sit there and watch them take an exam, because we expect them to be honorable when they do that. And we support the military structure. Faculty wear uniforms, academic professionals wear uniforms, and we support and help to support the military structure. The teaching faculty are the advisors. your son or daughter will get an academic advisor assigned to them. They will get a chance to meet them during the matriculation week. There'll be a break from all those physical activities and training where they'll get to have a meal with their faculty advisor. They'll get to meet all the faculty in their department. They'll get to be in an air-conditioned building for a couple hours and relax. And that'll be the start of a 4-year relationship with those advisors. And so that's a very important meeting place, okay? And one that the advisors really look forward to because they get a chance to meet a new group of incoming cadets. They get a chance to help mold these young folks. You know, faculty here want to be here because they want to be with undergraduates and they support the system. If they wanted to be teaching graduate students and helping students write PhDs, they'd be at Virginia Tech and other big research institutions. They want to be with young 18 to 22-year-olds. Challenging place. It's a busy place, right? But what I see, I've been here, this is my 18th year I'll be starting. I joined the faculty in 2002. I have a daughter in college, not at VMI. I have another one about to go to college in another year. And what I see from my experience, and if you have had college students, you might have seen this, high schools, as good as they are, do not prepare students for college work. And I don't mean that they don't have the courses. I mean they don't really yet understand what it means to learn where you're not in a class from 8 in the morning till 3:30 and you are really guided the whole way. And you get do-overs sometimes in high school, right? You get to correct those mistakes as a learning tool, and you get do-overs for this and that and other things. Well, in college, there aren't too many do-overs. You know, we don't make, at VMI especially, we don't make allowances for things that happen. So, you know, I've taught 8 o'clock classes, and I have students come in tired because at 3:30 that morning, there was a drum out. So they're all up, and then it's hard to go back to sleep. And guess what? I have an 8 o'clock class and a test. Life is tough. We're going to take the test. We don't make the test the next class. We have the test then. Guess what? When you're working for the military, when you're working for the government, when you're working for a corporation and you had a bad night, the boss doesn't say, let's just go out and have a Danish and coffee and relax, and then we'll worry about that client tomorrow. No. Okay? So, how do you succeed here? You've got to learn how to study, and you've got to learn how to manage your time. Really critical. It doesn't come naturally to everyone, but we have facilities and people to help. So there's no shame in asking for help. The problem is if you don't ask for help and you get through your rat year and you don't succeed academically, right? It doesn't matter how shiny your buckle is and how well you do elsewhere, if you're not academically strong enough, you don't get to come back. So it's important to work with your son or daughter to make sure that they're growing in this area. And I'll talk to you in a moment where they go. Math competency is a challenge. Right? Are they strong enough to get through their rat math sequence? And of course, if they're in certain fields, they're going to take a lot more math than just their rat year. And then writing and reading. Okay? So where do they go for help? Miller Academic Center. Time management skills, study skills. How do I set a calendar? How do I follow a calendar? How do I discipline myself to study during the day and not just try to do it at night? How do I take notes? I didn't have to take notes in high school. I just kind of read the material, did the stuff in class, and got A's and B's. It doesn't work in college that way unless you're really, really, really bright. And we all like to think we're really, really, really bright. But let's not bet on a lottery ticket. Okay? So let's learn how to take notes. Doesn't come natural to everyone. So they can go to the Miller Academic Center anytime it's open and get help in those things. Right? So you might ask your son or daughter, how's it coming with managing your day? Are you getting that studying in? Okay. Do you take notes in class? Do you know how to take notes? Or do you know there's help? Okay. And they'll get told this by cadet leadership. A math resource center, the MERC, it's in the library. They can go there and get assistance in their math classes from upper class cadets who are strong in those math courses. And the Writing Center, staffed by professionals, people with master's degrees and PhDs, who can help the cadets with their writing. They have papers, and they need some help writing. None of these are the thing you do the day before a test or a paper is due. All right? These are things you do well in advance in preparation for the possibility that you might need help. And even if you think that you know how to take notes, even if you think you're strong in managing your day, it's not bad to go to an expert to get it to say, confirmation, you are doing a great job, keep doing it, versus you might think about doing this, or we need another session or two. Okay? So if your son or daughter says, I'm okay there, Mom and Dad, say, why don't you get an expert to tell you that you're okay, and then just to confirm it, and that would be a good thing. Remember FERPA, if you want to see grades, your son or daughter has to sign the FERPA release. If you want advisors to talk to you beyond, yes, your son or daughter is my advisee, they have to sign the FERPA release. Okay? If they don't sign the FERPA release, we cannot talk to you about their academic performance. Right? We're barred by federal law from doing that. So make sure they do that if you want to be able to have conversations with an advisor. We don't send paper grades. They get to see those on the electronic system called PostView. Okay, but they have access to it. It's their password. Right, so you have to ask them for those grades. Okay, and use the academic advisor. He or she is there to guide your son or daughter through the 4-year experience from the academic perspective, and often other times too, just to be a sounding board, just to listen. Okay, just to be someone else to talk to about a problem. Okay? So it may be academic, it might not, but that's okay. That's what they're there for, and they want your son or daughter to come and talk to them. Right? If you're an advisor, the last thing you want is a student not to show up, not to come talk to you. Okay? So encourage them to use that advisor to their benefit. So once they get out of the rat line, then they can start thinking about other things at college beyond their classes and beyond the rat line. Okay, because then they have the opportunity to engage in other things. So they can get involved, if they're a bright student academically, they might be already in the Institute Honors Program, they might qualify for department honors programs. We have study abroad programs, undergraduate research, both in the summer and during the academic year, mentored by faculty. A variety of academic clubs in all the majors, all mentored by a faculty member from a particular major. Great internship opportunities, either facilitated by a department or by career services, and then a lot of community service opportunities. Service Learning Club that gets involved with local community service opportunities. So lots of things to start thinking about that they won't have time to think about, nor the ability to participate in while they're in the rat line. But once they get out of the rat line, lots of things they can do for academic enrichment. And that, I will turn it over to Colonel Wanovich.
Afternoon. Fired up? You don't sound fired up. Come on. All right, I'm Bill Wanovich. I'm the Commandant of Cadets. Anywhere else, that's a Dean of Students. Between myself, the Dean, and the Athletic Director, we own the 24 hours in the day. If it's the Dean has from 8 till 4 each day for academics, and really from about 8 o'clock till 11:30 at night for dedicated study. Obviously, the Athletic Director has practice time and competition time for the NCAA teams and all the rest of it. We help synchronize and support all these things that cadets do and what RATs do throughout their cadetship here. I'm in my 10th year. My first 4 years here, I was on active duty, and I was in the Army, running the Army ROTC program. I retired, and God willing, this will be my 6th academic year as the Commandant. So excited to be here with a little bit of background. I'm going to go through a couple of things. What I'm not going to do is carry you through 4 years. I'm going to try to carry you through 6 weeks, because really that's, I know that's where everybody's focused, and then you can kind of calm down because the place is complicated. There's 6,000 rules and regulations, and the cadets need to know them, and they'll figure them out, but you need to know kind of what's going on that first couple of weeks. If you've been here for open houses, you've seen some of this, so I'm going to move through it pretty quick, but I'll give you kind of what that first week looks like. No secrets. what that first semester looks like. We're going to talk about permits, the new cadet oath ceremony, and then I've got a couple of 2 slides from there, and then I'm going to do a favor for my brother at Bob Phillips. Okay, so there's that first week. Matriculation Saturday, always. Haircuts, look, supper. We've talked about this all the way through. Supper every single day. Dinner every single day. Breakfast. Breakfast is real early that day. Look, folks, here's the deal. I deliver them to the mess hall twice a day. I form them up, salute the flag, march them down, and deliver them to the mess hall. All right? The mess hall is open from about 6:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. And the 3 periods of chow, the 3 periods for dinner are always available with the main meal. In between, you can go in and get whatever you want. We're not out of food. All right? There's nutrition in the mess hall. You've got to find it. You've got to find it. So it's there. I don't want to hear, you'll hear it. I didn't get to eat. I didn't do, no. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time to go and get a glass of milk, chipped ham sandwich, peanut butter and jelly, whatever it is you need to sustain yourself. But we're going to make sure that that's happening, and that's important. So you can see we're doing that throughout. That first day, physical training, we start into 17 drill blocks and issuing equipment. Church opportunity, very short for the Catholic and the Protestant and the Lutheran come to post, and we get everybody else some orientation. Institute briefings. I've talked about this before. The VMI fitness test, day 2. Day 2. All right? And we're going to take it that morning. All right? We continue those issues. These are done by companies, synchronized throughout. Athletics, we start into honor court with the honor court members, talking to every company. Physical training, all right? More of the same. This is going on throughout. And again, I've got 10 different companies working simultaneously through a bunch of tasks and a bunch of not only issuing equipment, getting rooms ready, left and right face, manual of arms, all those things are going on throughout this period. We get into that Wednesday. You got a tour of VMI and a blue book for the STP folks. You're going to know what's going to go on here. Hey, here's a big deal. I put an STP kid in every single room. All right? They know what's going on. So if you're not coming to STP, there's somebody to lean on in the room. There's someone to lean on in the room. They know where this is and where that is. They're going to help you out. Academic advising we just talked about, and academic talks that night, and we get into protocol and the things that go on there. Thursday morning, House Mountain, great day there, book issue going on. So each of those 10 companies go up House Mountain on Thursday. More honor court and cadet government that night. They get a briefing for the regimental commander and XO that night as well. All right, Friday, finishing up. These are all the makeups, academic advisor meeting. Here's your ROTC. That's your orientation with the ROTC, opportunity to apply for a scholarship if you don't have one, issue of equipment, all the stuff you need to do to be involved in ROTC. If you're in the wrong one, that's a chance to switch right then. But that gets you up to speed, and we give you 4 or 5 hours right there for that. Athletics that night, more government, cadet government. Saturday, room and uniform inspections. We've been working on this all week. All right, so we're getting prepped. We do the formal inspections. We do a drill competition as we prep for that. And church opportunity with all the churches coming in, about 30 churches right here in this building. We'll come in and meet with everybody and take them off to service that morning for the first morning, introduce them to that. They'll come back. We have a crucible event, tough event that day to get them through. While they're doing this, the Corps coming back. The rest of the Corps comes back. Monday we register. Tuesday we're going to school. All right? Tough 9 days. But we get it all done. It's a myriad of things that get done in here, probably 200 tasks. And the superintendent's exactly right. 9 days later, they're changed. They're changed. They're a new standing tall, looking proud, and moving out. There's what the year looks like. He's hit a bunch of these. That oath ceremony, D-Day memorial, just got back from there last week, where we honored 80 World War II vets on the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Absolutely awesome to see sacrifice, and we talk about that. Rat trip down to the Citadel as we go down there and kick some butt on the 4th and 5th. We're going to do it. 6 home football games, FTX, family weekend right there, Founders Day weekend, Saturday, road marches and physical fitness. I've looked at the calendar. I've looked at every Saturday and Sunday through the 14 or 15 Saturdays and Sundays, and I'm telling you, they're busy, almost every single one of them. All right, it's busy. Saturday is a day here. It is a day, and it goes late. It goes late into that day, and especially with football, if we don't have that, and we've got some other training to do, RCC training, FTX training, or some other training. So they're going to stay busy. That's that matriculation piece. We culminate. We've talked about that already. And then afterwards, weapons qualification, field craft, first aid, navigation, and then we complete with the FTX at the end of the year. That's a mandatory event for the 4th class, bringing them together. All right? Tough first year in terms of training and getting them through this process. Let's talk about permits. This is an area of confusion. A permit is nothing more than a request that's submitted, which is an exception to the way that we're doing business. You need to do something, so you submit a permit. We have standing permits, and these are what are important to most parents. First thing on a standing permit, you have to have full class privileges, no penalty tours, no confinement, no academic or conduct probation, no medical status, etc., as stated in the permit. But then 3 standing permits. This is a main one for parents. Visit, dine by invite. All right. It's RATs are authorized Friday through Sunday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, but they can only take 2 of those 3 opportunities, or at least without getting permission. This allows them to miss supper that night. All right. And they can stay out till 20:30 on Sunday or 2200, 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. All right. And they can begin at the completion of military duty. That might be a RAT run. That might be the football game. That might be whatever it is. Whatever military duty is that day, once it's done, that's when the permit can start. All right, on Friday, or 1600. No later than 1600 on Saturday. All right, and then they have to be accompanied by a family member or the parent of a family member. A lot of times, one RAT's parents will come in and they'll take the whole room out or something like that. So lots of opportunity for them to get out here and get a little bit of freedom. And it's a little bit. But that's important. Sometimes that couple hours is exactly what they need. Religious services, really important here, applies only to Sunday worship services. Depart post as early as 7. All right, we have a status check at 7, and then remain with a host family or other member of the church until 20:30 under the religious services permit. Again, full class privileges. You got to have full class privileges. If you got PTs, you're marching those that afternoon. And the general permit, RATs can only take this on Sunday from 12 to 1800 hours, noon to 6 p.m. That's if you're not able to take or you're not going to religious services. So you still get some time off to take that permit. Okay? So I'm sure there'll be a lot of other things. There's a lot of folks that can help the RATs understand what this means. This is that first opportunity. You're going to want to know this is important, as we get a lot of parents that come in for the new cadet oath ceremony. August 31st, September 1st, that's Saturday. All right, they're authorized to take that visit, dine by invite. And just one slide before I said they couldn't leave till 4 o'clock. Well, for this particular one, we're going to let them leave at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and stay out till 2200. All right, so that helps you plan if you want to be here and take them out. On Sunday, this is what their day looks like. They go to New Market, tour the battlefield, oath, charge, picnic, town of New Market rat parade. And then they're going to get back on a bus. I'm not going to release them from New Market to you. They're going to get back on the bus, come back to VMI, check in, and then they can go out with you that night, normally from about 1700 again till 2200. Good planning for you if you're coming up for New Market or Rat Oath weekend. Very, very important. Really, there's something to be said about putting your hand in the air, and swearing to God and country and everybody else that's there what you're going to do as a cadet for the next 4 years. That's important. All right. And so if you can make it for that, great. It's a terrific ceremony. All right, getting ready for VMI, and these are just some of my notes. I don't know how they did it, but very quietly, the state of Virginia upped the smoking age from 18 to 21, and that is effective in about 7 days. Okay, in about 7 days. That includes smoking, cigarettes, cigars, dip, vaping, all of it. All right? I can guarantee you this. Law enforcement, stores, lots of people are going to look the other way. VMI will not. VMI will not. So I have some advice for anybody that does those things. Stop today. Start getting off of it and get away from it today. First of all, it's not healthy. Really, in 7 days, it's not legal. All right? Just to be following state law, just like anybody would expect us to do. 7 days from now, it's no longer legal. It's no longer legal. Cannot use it, cannot possess it, can't buy it, can't attempt to buy it, all those things. So that's out there. That's new. That's painful. But folks, we're not going to look the other way and say, well, we don't think. No, baloney. That's how it's going to be. So that's where we go. Total fitness, folks, stretching, challenging cardio, hills, distance, speed, upper body, core workouts. I say this every year on day 2 because they're lined up outside the doc's office. All right? Sore muscles are muscles that haven't been used. Sore muscles are muscles that haven't been used. If you're using them all, I guarantee on day 2 there's no reason for you to be sore. You don't do enough push-ups not to be sore. If you're doing the work now, you're going to come in here fit. I was talking to somebody this morning. I'm telling you, that total fitness has everything to do with how you focus at night, how you study, how you're able to stay awake and focus in class. It is all additive. You're going to sleep better. You're going to study better. You're going to focus more. But you got to start. It gets into fitness. It's right there. It's right there. Help me reinforce it. Help me reinforce it. Because we're going to push it. Nutrition and sleep, getting in that good habit starting right now. All right? Staying up till 2:30 in the morning is not going to do it. And look, the real deal is when you walk in at 9 o'clock and they're watching Netflix or doing something like that, what they're not doing is studying. And then they cram till midnight, 1:30. They get in trouble for the late lights. They're tired the next day. All right? They didn't sleep. All right? Because they wanted to be comfortable and do what they wanted to do versus focusing on what was important. All right? It's focus. Focus on these things. After all the studying's done, do some Netflix. And then at 11:30, turn the lights out and get some sleep. All right? So it's back to prioritizing and getting that right. Social media, folks, it causes far more problems than it solves. Causes far more problems than it solves. All right? I hope this is not what you see when you come to BMI. All right? Because I'm going to fire somebody up if this is what they're doing. That's wrong. That you can see that anywhere. Any college campus, you can see that. People don't pay attention to you. Cadets should be greeting you, saying hello, tipping their hat, greeting the officers and the NCOs that are coming along. That is part of the way we do business here. All right? First of all, they're not going to have the phone in their hand, but nor should the rest of the Corps. All right? But this causes a lot more problems than it solves. And I'll tell you, this is right where we go, and this is where we end up with all the problems. The parents looking at this stuff, and one kid's perspective on there, and it just goes out of control. It goes out of control. And just like the superintendent said, you're worrying, you don't know what the truth is. It's bad business. It's bad business. All right? I can guarantee you, we are not whipping and beating these young men and women. We're pushing them. We're pushing them. All right, but they're eating, they're getting around, but they've got a responsibility as part of this too. This will kill you. This will kill you. Listen, and let me tell you what else is really important. This brother rat thing, that comes through real personal experience. Go to a mess hall. Come down and visit me at the mess hall one day, and what you see is 7 or 8 young men and women sitting around a table talking to each other. Not this. Not that. Okay? That's real interaction. I don't know. I can remember this like it was yesterday. We came up from every SRC, and we had a wrestling match every night. I mean, it was just, is that real interaction? I guess it is. But that's what we did. I mean, we interacted, and there's something important about that. We got to get this right. No early release for Thanksgiving or spring furlough, okay? So if you have flights home, plan those for the next day. Barracks will remain open. And we need to get something out in the newsletter. I think it's not correct in there. Look, folks, this is it. This is where it's most important. There are lots of people here to assist the rats. They have a cadre. And as much as they don't want to talk to their corporal is honored to, and they can be a little contentious. But for the most part, they want to help. They are there to help. The corporal, the sergeant, the chain of command, they'll answer the question. Or if the young rat needs to do some work, they'll get them to get doing some work on their own. They got a chain of command, or a company commander, and an XO. They've got roommates and friends. All right? This is about leaning on each other. This is about working together. They got a faculty advisor. They have dykes, not only their own dyke, but all the dykes in the room. They have a TAC officer. All right? They got me. There's plenty of people that will help them out. They have to help themselves. They have to help themselves. We're not going to spoon feed it to them, but they got plenty of people to help them out. Every time you do it for them, They don't do it for themselves. Every time you do it for them, they don't figure out a problem, they don't solve it, they don't gain confidence, and they don't get any more mature. They just come back to somebody that was fixing the problem for them. Well, that's what you get after 4 years if you do it. That's where they're going to keep coming to. All right? Here's the bottom line. Let them grow up. They're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. And when they solve that problem, they're going to gain confidence in themselves. They're going to be proud that they took care of that problem themselves. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. But they got lots of people to help them out. There's those final thoughts for you. You've kind of seen this before. Safety and risk mitigation. Security is part of my job. That fairness and discipline. Training management. Operations and synchronization. Commitment to cadet success. Helping to forge. Forge is I use that word specifically. A great future VMI class. We don't make one, we forge it. All right? Forge is you work it. You got to push on it, pound on it, you got to get it right, you got to mold it. We're getting a good product because you're good people and you've sent us good kids, but we're going to shine them up. We're going to push them. What do I say to parents and cadets? You came for a challenge, then you should expect one. And don't whine if you get one. Don't whine if you're getting challenged. That's what you said you wanted. Total fitness, everyone is special, no one is extra special. All right? For even starting an STP, 200 different backgrounds, you've got to start to learn to get along today. This is the network. This is what brings us together 25 years later, 50 years later. This is the Brother Rat. This is where it starts. All right? If it's all about you, then it can't be about us. So everybody's got to break down a little bit and say, I want to be part of something bigger than just me. I'm going to be part of this class. I'm going to help make this class. I'm going to help forge this class. I'm going to be part of this class. You give up some individual characteristics, your individualism, and you do that for the class. Truly committed. All right? Talk is cheap. The folks that'll leave here in the first couple of weeks, they're here for the wrong reason. All right? Mom and Dad, if this is the only place you're going to pay for, there's a good chance they're here for the wrong reason. All right? If they're here because Uncle Jack went here and he's worked it, and your kid's not saying much, they're here for the wrong reason. All right? I hope we've worked through some of that, but let's make sure they're here because they want to be here and they've committed to getting through this. If they commit to getting through it, they'll get through it. Pass, fail, whatever it is, if they've committed to it, they'll get through it. Guaranteed success, 2 simple things. Never quit. Always give your best effort. Even if your best effort is a failing effort, give your best effort. I'd rather see you fail something and give me 110% trying to get there than I would see you do half of what you're able to do only because you want to save your energy for something else. Given the opportunity to give your best effort, give it. Every stinking time. Standards enforced. No praise for meeting them. Not usually. And expect consequences for failing them. Rumors. I'm gonna cover. I'm not the chaplain by any stretch of the imagination. I'll tell you that. but the chaplain's my BR and he works for me. And I'm going to cover for him. He's not going to be able to sit in. He's visiting his grandson, and the associate chaplain is actually ill, and we're praying for him right now. Well, four things for the chaplain: free exercise, religion. Look, state school. There is absolutely no expectation or requirement for participation at all. But cadets are stretched. They're pulled. They're challenged. Austere conditions here. Spartan living conditions, and so they're looking for resources to sustain them, and many find their faith is one of those resources. So that's important. Our job here is to help them in that search. We have a team of folks here to include cadet chaplains that will help them in that search. If you've come from a Christian background, Catholic or Protestant, there's tons and tons of resources here in Lexington. We gather all of them, about 30 of them every year, with the commandant, with the chaplain, and give them the calendar. They know what we're doing. We're in sync with what's going on. They know when we're busy, and Sundays they know about the opportunities and requirements during matriculation week. So that's all in place, and but there's lots of resources here that will help get them off to church or services throughout. And we have a great relationship with all those churches. If you're from a low-density faith group, then we're going to ensure that we link you up with that faith community to find their support. Hillel House, Jewish cadets, right over at W&L, Muslim, Buddhist. I mean, if you've got it, we'll find it and we'll help you. Seventh-day Adventists, we'll get you there and we'll get you linked up. That's important to what we're doing. So they're a link. We're not going to push, proselytize, or we're going to afford this opportunity for everybody that's here. From that pastoral care, the chaplain provides confidentiality and professional counseling in what he's doing. He's not necessarily a substitute for our counselors. He is another resource from a faith side where he can provide those things. We have cadet chaplains that work in barracks, and again, they're not there to do healing. And what they do is they help get you. They help calm a situation and can get you either linked up with a chaplain, look out for you, maybe give you a ride, do something to help you out. But we have about 4 cadet chaplains in the barracks. We also do the emergency notifications. We know that during these years, it's likely someone's going to lose a grandparent or, God forbid, a parent or even a brother or sister. Horrible things. But we're there to do the notification and help with that. Emergency leave situations. The chaplain is there, so please contact him. He can help you with those situations throughout this tough 4 years. And he's right there. This isn't a call-in. This isn't a text. He's standing there with you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to help you through that situation. Contribute to the moral and ethical leadership development of cadets. Really, we're a leadership school that affords an opportunity to attain a solid bachelor's degree, but we're starving for leaders of character and integrity and principles. And so you'll see that throughout the chaplains there to help with that. That's what we're going to produce here. And so many of these values and principles we find are connected to a cadet's faith. And then the last thing there are the comprehensive ministry programs, non-denominational Christian chapel services on post. We have Fellowship Christian Athletes, Officer Christian Fellowship, the Navigators, the Newman Club, InterVarsity, several Bible studies, retreats, both during the year, during weekends, and during spring break as well, and lots of other support organizations out there again, for lower density religion. So lots of opportunities. That's for my BR, Bob Phillips, and we'll have somebody out at the table there to help answer questions today for this side. All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to be followed by the chief.
We are going to give you a break. It's just going to be right after me. So first, my name's Jamie Emmett. I'm the Institute's Chief of Staff. First, I'd like to say thank you very much for entrusting your son or daughter to us. 6 years ago, I was sitting where you are. My youngest graduated in the class of 16, and I think that you'll find it's a pretty rewarding experience. It's a little bit more enjoyable the last 2 years, but all 4 years are enjoyable. And I would tell you that this first year, when they have computers, which they get the day academics start, you might find that you're communicating more with your child their first year here than you have since they were like in middle school. That happened in our case. And my son could see his bedroom from his rat room, so it still worked out that way. So I'm going to run through you this one day, the matriculation day. So on the 16th of August, which is Friday, we're going to have a parents' council reception from 4 to 5 p.m. In this building in the hall next door. And you're welcome to come to that. It's free of charge. You'll have an opportunity to RSVP. We'd ask that you do that just so we can get a good number of people. And then on the 17th of August, matriculation goes from 7:30 to 11:30. There's a matriculation fair, which I'll speak of in a moment. It goes from 8 to 1. After you process your cadet through, you'll drop off luggage at the VMI barracks. Lunch is from 11 to 1:30. You're welcome to eat in Crozet, or you can eat downtown. At 2 p.m. or 1400, the superintendent's welcomes in Cameron Hall, and then shortly thereafter, about 2:30, we'll form up each new cadet company by company, and they'll march out of Cameron Hall and start their cadetship. So matriculation, 7:30 to 11:30 in Cameron Hall. Early return athletes and international students will begin at 7, and then those whose last names begin with A through L, 7:30 to 9, and last names that begin M through Z are 9 to 11:30. If you go to vmi.edu, www.vmi.edu, the very first thing that comes up, it's got a large banner on it that says matriculation. If you click on that button, absolutely everything that I'm covering is on the website. We're expecting about 500. It'll probably be a little bit more than that, probably between 505 and 510 new cadets to matriculate. We do believe this is a really special day, and it's poignant and it's emotional both for your child and for you, and we encourage parents and guardians to participate. It is also a very busy day, lots going on, so it's not necessarily, 6 siblings, 4 cousins, but we do encourage parents and guardians. And then what we do during this particular matriculation when you're down there is you'll pick up packets and fill out forms, you'll process through a series of stations, you'll receive your barracks rooms and company assignments. If your cadet is an STP cadet, he'll have a post office, or she will have a post office box that'll stay with them. If they're not, then they'll get one. Handle any last-minute financial issues. That you'll obtain your cadet's academic schedule from the registrar. You meet with the academic departments and the ROTCs. It's a chance to ask questions. You sign the matriculation book. And then for those cadets that aren't an STP, they'll be issued the VMI physical fitness uniform. If your cadet is an athlete, a summer school athlete or an STP cadet, they'll already have that issued. The matriculation fair is from 8 to 1 p.m. in Cock Hall. That's the big gymnasium. There'll be signage on this day, so we'll get you from one place to another. This matriculation is an opportunity for both on-post and off-post agencies to introduce services and other organizations. Parents Council will be there, representatives from information technology, local churches and off-post religious opportunities, our chaplain and on-post religious opportunity, banks, the Alumni Association, academic services, some select cadet organizations, and National Guard and Reserve recruiters will be there. It takes somewhere between as quick as 10 and as much as an hour to get through there. It just depends on what you and your cadet are really interested in. And then just a few tips. Some of these are commonsensical, but weather's probably going to be hot and humid, so wear comfortable clothes and walking shoes. We would ask you to limit the number of people attending if possible. Please bring an umbrella in case of inclement weather. You can probably tell that the post is in a state of disruption. We're doing a $30 million infrastructure project, and then while your cadets are here, there's a number of academic buildings on Academic Row, but we will have parade ground parking. If the weather permits it, we'll try to have that for you. You have an opportunity to complete all pre-registration and financial forms. We ask that you make sure your cadet have all the required clothing items. Read the new cadet handbook, as General P mentioned. And then give credit cards, checkbooks, or anything you want to give your cadet prior to the superintendent's welcoming ceremony. And the superintendent's welcome starts at 2 in Cameron Hall. All new cadets will be in that VMI physical fitness uniform. The way that ceremony goes, General P will make some comments. He'll introduce some key members of the team. The Commandant of Cadets will make some brief remarks. The regimental commander makes some brief remarks. And then each cadet company commander comes up, falls the new rats from his or her company into formation, and then the whole rat mass marches out. They come up from Cameron by Crozet Hall. They go into the new barracks courtyard, and they begin their 9-day training regimen at that time. Once they march out of Cameron Hall, there's really not a whole lot to see. We're going to gain control of them, and you say your goodbyes down in Cameron, and then wait for that 5th, 6th, or 7th day when they can give you a phone call and see how they're doing. So thank you again very, very much. I'll be followed by Colonel Beitzel. And don't leave without having your questions answered. If you have any question about matriculation, you can ask any of us, and I'll certainly be here for the majority of the afternoon. Thank you.
As I hope you have felt throughout the journey for your sons and daughters to get here, I hope you found that VMI is, of course, a challenging place, but if your sons or daughters come to VMI and they have elected to do that, we want them to enjoy success here. And there are a lot of individuals and offices that provide various types of support, and some of those are here on this panel, and a lot more you'll be able to visit with in the Hall of Valor after this panel is done. We just want to give these individuals an opportunity to introduce themselves, their office, what their office is, what they do, give you, as I said before, a chance to ask maybe some general questions, and then more specific questions when we leave here and move into the next phase. So we'll begin and let them say a few words and then open it up for your questions.
Good afternoon. We are Chris and Amanda Knott, and we are presidents of the VMI Parents Council. And the Parents Council is basically a group of parents made up of the top 3 classes, your thirds, your seconds, and your firsts. And we're just our group communicates between the school and the parents, basically. We answer questions, we make sure that we get information out to people, and I think that's basically what our charter really is.
Good afternoon. I'm Captain Brian Quisenberry. I'm the Director of Financial Aid, VMI class of 81. I think all but about 4 of your sons and daughters have been awarded, been packaged aid through our office. A couple of the things I'd like to remind students about: if they're going to accept their student loans, they need to do that in Postview. In addition to accepting them, they'll need to go out to studentloans.gov and complete entrance counseling and sign a master promissory note. If there are any parents in the audience who are considering a PLUS loan, a parental loan through the Department of Ed, studentloans.gov is the site you'll go to submit your application. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Major Denise Young, the Director of the Miller Academic Center. My role here today, and certainly ongoing, is to help your son or daughter with their academic journey. So that involves whether it's sitting down one-on-one and having a conversation about study strategies, or recommending a group study session, which we have available for various academic subjects. Whatever I can do, reasonably of course, to help make their academic journey here a successful one, the Miller Academic Center is certainly the place where they want to come. And I look forward to speaking with many of you later this afternoon.
Wow, this went through really quick. I'm Sandra Manuel. I'm the bursar, student accounting. I just sent all of you or your sons, daughters an email on Friday saying the bills were available on Postview for you to look at. Also, there's a place where your son or daughter can set you up as an authorized bill payer, and then you can go out there and you'll be able to see the bills. I'll send you notifications of when bills are due. In the middle of the semester, if there's an issue, I'll send a parent and the cadet a notification. There's also a new form. It's called XEFP or FRP. It has to do with ferpa. FERPA is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, where your kids don't have to tell you anything. So even though you all are paying the bills, unless they go out on Postview and sign you up as an authorized bill payer, and that allows us to talk to you, you can also talk to the registrar and to financial aid if they fill out this form saying that you can. Also, the bills have a $200 security deposit on them. That is different than the $300 reservation fee that you paid. $200 security deposit stays on their account until they withdraw or graduate, and then you get it back as long as they don't have any outstanding bills. Brian talked to you about loans. The loans will not show up on your bill until your cadet accepts them. What's on your award letter is the gross amount, so when he accepts them, it'll show the net amount on the billing. Those of you who have outside awards are, your cadets were packaged based on need, and if you get an outside award and the need you don't need that. They may go in and take some of your other scholarships, VMI scholarships, away. We also have a payment plan, tuition management systems. I have information on my table out in the hall about how to sign up for the payment plan. You pay like $53 and make monthly payments, and there's no interest, and that shows you as paid if you want to set up one of those. ROTC, we have not gotten any list from Navy or Air Force saying that your sons or daughters have ROTC scholarships. We have gotten a few Army, but I don't know if we've gotten them all. Also on my table out there, there's some information that talks about all this stuff more in depth, and it tells you how much the Army will pay or how much the Navy and Air Force will pay for your scholarship. We just need you to send in, if we have not been notified, send in your form from the branch saying that your son or daughter has the scholarship. The bookstore, Follett, we have Follett Bookstore here. It is an outside company. We do not have anywhere for you to make deposits for your student to pay for their books. The bookstore, if you call them, and I have the name on that, the telephone number on that information, call them. You can set up an account with them to charge your credit card for your students' books. Loan amounts, you have to be here, the student has to be here 30 days before they can get their loan money. So don't plan on letting them use loan money to pay for their books. They're actually going to get their books on the Monday after matriculation, after they meet their academic advisors, so they'll know they'll need funds available to purchase books at that time. Virginia prepaid, we've not received the list of those yet either. As soon as we do, we'll put it on your bill so you can see. I also have some contact information as to how to get in touch with us. I've got my card out there at our table, so I'd be happy for you all to come by and chat. We can tell you about your bill or any other questions you might have. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Let me sort of start the questioning, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but as far as the Parents Council, could you maybe introduce a little bit about the early interaction and maybe what Parents Council might be doing at matriculation, the oath, and maybe if football weekends a little bit?
All right, so Parents Council, there's a lot of different things that we do on campus to help put parents at ease and help families. So matriculation day actually starts the day before. There's going to be a pre-matriculation social on that Friday afternoon, and everybody's invited. I think it's parents, well, I shouldn't say everybody, parents and the student. I think parents and the student can come to the social, and that's Friday evening. And then Saturday, Parents Council members will be helping with parking, helping direct people, telling you where to go if you have questions. Anybody that has one of these red name tags on, feel free to stop and ask us. We will be happy to answer any questions that you have. And then after matriculation day, we actually don't do anything with the oath ceremony at New Market, but we encourage you to come to New Market if you can. That'll be the first opportunity that you would have to see your cadet after matriculation, and it's a really neat opportunity to see them charge up that hill and have a nice meal and let them kind of relax a little bit. Of course, if you want to take your rat out to dinner, you will have to wait. They will after lunch, they bus them into the middle of town. They march down the middle of New Market. They bring them back here, and then you can take your rat out to dinner afterwards, back here if you want. So that's New Market Oath Ceremony. And then during the football season, we have several tailgates throughout the year. For a lot of times, it's those students whose parents can't come to help tailgate, and so they get a hamburger or hot dog and macaroni and cheese or whatever it is that the volunteers happen to make that day. And so that's some of the things that we do.
Thank you. Who would like to start us off with questions? right down here in front.
Child visit was back in 2007 for the shooter. What sort of policy or procedures in place for after shooter?
I didn't.
Active shooters, you got it. Okay, so we, I mean, this is something that's rehearsed. We have 24/7 officer in charge, and my staff went on in the barracks. There's a 24/7 presence there. Those are paid adults who do that. That's not cadets that we have to do that. That we run a drill for our emergency management folks. We run fire drills. We run active shooter drills. And we do that on post. That's done monthly. We'll do that also in conjunction with tornado or weather or something. We look at all those contingencies. We're not going to do any firing of weapons or anything like that. We run the drills to make sure we've got good communications. Everybody takes the right action, and then everybody takes the appropriate action, and then we come in afterwards and then we will after action to make sure that's done as well. You'll find on communications we have about, it's unbelievable. My cell phone rings, my text hits, my email goes off, and my phone is announcing it all at one time. It's unbelievable, and we have a big voice here that announces this across the post. So the big thing for us is letting people know what's going on. We test that monthly for all of the different contingencies of the emergency.
And is there a text that goes out to the students?
Yes, yes. So that's part of the, I think that's part of the, so they're able to sign up for the text, and that's what's important. Get them to sign up, and it's not, it's just one more icon on that phone. It's already got about 600 of them. So one more thing they can sign up for is going to provide that information to them as well. If they don't sign up, that's when we can't get it to them. If they do, then we can get them an email or a text or whatever they need to get that information. Okay? Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. Well. Yes.
The matriculation packing list, why do they need so many items?
No, I'll help with that. Part of it's the laundry. We're doing laundry for 1,700 here. So it's not just what you're using. It's you got to use a certain amount. Then while the laundry's away, you got to use more until the laundry gets back. And so what I'm telling you, when you see 14 pairs, it's because you're going through 5 or 6 pairs. You put those in the wash, and then it's 4 more days before that comes back. And so you've got more accruing. When you throw that new stuff out, you get the other stuff back, fold it up, put it in. Right? So that's why we looked at this. I mean, I know it's a point of, it's a point of the bottom line is it's all related to laundry, getting it out there, what we're using, and what's coming back. Right. And it should last for 4 years.
They tend to go through laundry quickly, particularly when it's really hot. They will potentially even take a couple of showers during the day, and so they need extra clothes for that way. And socks. Our son has gone through socks like crazy. So yeah, it's definitely a need, at least during that rat year.
Is there a particular computer that is recommended? And someone mentioned the child getting a computer on a certain day. How does that come about? Is there a recommended computer?
There is a recommended computer, and it should be posted on the website, I think. You don't necessarily have to get it through the school, but you can get it through the bookstore if you want. But you can also go through Dell or your local Best Buy and get one. But it'll tell you what the specifications are on the website. As far as when they get the computer, they actually will not be able to use their computer until after matriculation week, Hell Week. So, but email's really the best way to connect with them once they do get their computer, since they won't have their phones. But that first 9 days or whatever, you won't be communicating with them except for that one phone call.
We will be sending out, and I believe the information technology, I believe, has a table back here. And usually you can get a really good deal on Dell computers here, and if you do buy it through our IT, you get a lot of software that comes along with it. And in the IT department, they will actually, they have the capability, if there's a problem with any Dell product, you bring it and they'll give you, the cadets, a loaner, and they can work on it. But I think there is a table out here that IT will man, and but I believe normally what we do is send a flyer or an email or something promoting the different options in terms of computer laptop purchases. And laptops are preferred rather than desktop models. Who else? You know, above? Yes, way in the back.
Laundry, we've got, everybody gets a laundry number, and we'll make sure that the cadre will make sure they get a laundry number into every single piece of a kit that they have. And then for all their uniforms, all those get, we actually have the barcode, so we know how often they get turned in, how long to, that whole thing is there. They get a stamp with their name on it and a barcode.
Yes, sir.
Pickup or drop off, is that in front of the barracks for the kids?
You'll see right now, when we walked to the PX earlier, you'll see they had the little barriers up. Sometimes they'll let the barriers up when kids are moving in and out, but typically if it's just a regular weekend or something like that, you'll be dropping them off in the turnaround by the PX. That's typically where they'll pick up and drop off right there. But typically, no. Typically, probably 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to park right in front of barracks because they're going to have that blocked off.
Yeah. Shuttles to Walmart, that type of thing? You want to?
No. There is a shuttle that runs through town, but typically, I know our rat, when he was a rat, his dyke actually took him into town quite a bit, and they picked up stuff. Parents, we came down quite a bit because we're only about an hour away, so a lot of times we would actually take his roommates or his other brother rats into town with us. Either took them to dinner with us or took them to Walmart. And, they got there. We just say, hey, what do you guys need? And we just loaded them up that way. That's typically the best way to do it. And in town, they can just walk. Also, the PX or the bookstore also sells some of that stuff.
Bill, you want to? There's a shuttle that runs on the weekends and on Wednesdays.
When they have a general permit, which isn't very often, but when they do, those shuttles do run. But you got it right. I mean, parents take care of them, the dykes take care of them. They'll get them up there. A lot of times you just drop stuff off. There's a lot of opportunity. We do have shuttles for cadets on shuttle.
There's also a woman named Tammy Nicely. She has a business she calls Nicely Done. She does a lot of, she'll bring goodies. You can pay her to bring cookies and brownies or whatever for your rat. But she has actually been known to go do Walmart runs as well and drop off things here. So you can connect with her on Facebook under Nicely Done.
And there is a limousine service between here and the Roanoke Airport. But what happens and I was going to mention this, I don't know how many folks we have that are from out of state and that your sons and daughters will fly, but usually it's once they're here, they meet their brother rats, their dykes will take care of them, and usually whether they're going out to Dulles or Roanoke or whatever airport, they'll usually be able to easily get a ride with another cadet. That's usually no issue at all.
There's also a bus service that actually starts down in, I think, Tech, and comes up 81, stops here. It's every day. It's called the Breeze is the bus, and then it takes them all the way up to Dulles. So that's an option if the timing works out, because they're only here at one time a day. So the timing may or not work, depending on when they finish their exams, for example. But there is also a Facebook page called VMI Rides, and you can always post things there and say, hey, my rat needs a ride, or people will say, hey, I've got room for 3 people or whatever. So there's always opportunities to get rides.
And if there is an emergency situation, the chaplain will, and it's needed, the chaplain will provide shuttle service to usually to Roanoke or Charlottesville as well. There's a question down here? Yes.
So we talked about commissioning officers and commissioning in the military. What about career planning and placement? Obviously, we'd like our rat to really graduate and move forward in a career. So whose office has responsibility for that? How do we get our rat hooked up with that office?
So we actually have a career services center. So one of the things when I have cadets who will come into my office, perhaps thinking in terms of a particular career, I will send them upstairs. It's the next floor up from the Miller Academic Center to career services, and the director there will work with the cadet on finding a pathway into a particular career. So we do have that resource available.
And they've got career fairs a couple of times during the year, too, as far as I know.
Yeah, and the VMI Alumni Association does also have a lot of, provide a lot of support in that area. We are, one of the things that we're very proud of is that historically, almost 100% of our graduates will have gainful employment, if that's their choice, within about 6 months after graduation. There aren't many other schools in the country that can match that percentage of that VMI has. Others?
The ROTC scholarship program, how much additional time is that already on there?
ROTC will be here as well. I'm sorry. ROTC also will be out here, but not very much, because if the all of the cadets must take either Air Force, Army, Navy, or Marine Corps ROTC, and so that's one of the academic requirements for every cadet. So if you're on a commissioning track or not, there's really not no difference, especially the RAT year, in terms of commitment or obligations related to ROTC.
You may see a little bit in the summer. So if you're on scholarship, that your service may have you may have some requirements during the summer. During the school year, it's the same. Everybody's the same, whether you're scholarship or not scholarship.
If a child decides or seems like they want to change their major in the first time while they're there, where will they go?
Probably start with their advisor.
Yeah, we ask that they start that conversation with their faculty advisor, and then beyond that, they can come to the Miller Academic Center, and we can sit down and talk about what their thinking is. Sometimes it may be a case where maybe they're having an academic situation within the major, but it's still where they truly want to be. So it may be an academic study strategy piece that we need to work out versus just simply changing the major. So typically, that conversation will begin with the faculty advisor, then come to the Miller Academic Center, and if it's still a case where they want to change their major, then we'll talk about the paperwork that's required in doing that.
I have a question about the PT test. If they have to take a PT test to initiate their ROTC scholarship, do they turn around and have to take the VMI PT test back to back, or how does that work?
I don't think it's back to back.
Yeah, they'll take, I think the RTC, in order to contract, they have to take one the day before matriculation. On that day, if they pass that test, that is a service-specific fitness test. They'll take that. They can contract at that point. And then the VMI one is on Tuesday, that next Tuesday.
So they take both.
Yeah, so you're talking about Friday and Tuesday. The VMI fitness test is its own test for every cadet in VMI. Each service has their own specific PT test. test. And we've tried to find some in between of all of those for the VMI.
All right, thank you.
And there was someone right in front of you. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering if Amazon is an effective way to get your cadet things that they might need to. Is that here?
Yes, Amazon is perfectly fine. It can be mailed here. I will say that they probably will not be checking their mailboxes too terribly often, but when they get, if it's a package, they will get an email saying you have a package, so they'll know when to come down there. And part of that's just because that's when the cadre and so forth can kind of ding them as they're walking to the mail room. It's permissible. I don't know how it works. Can you speak to that?
Right, so right, if someone has right at the beginning, so you may do that on that first slide we talked about the RTCA, you could do it right then and switch. If after a semester, then you can switch over at that point. Generally what we found is the RTCs work with each other, so your Army credit for that semester goes to the Navy. So you're getting an RTC credit throughout the time. So it works out pretty well. The Army is able to go a little later in your cadetship, normally almost to your first class year before you make the final decision. The Navy is normally by the time you have to make that decision, by the time you finish your sophomore year, going into your junior year. The Air Force is pretty tough because they do a lot of qualifying. So after about a year and a half, you've got to make that decision. So it's tougher for some of the other services, but there is the ability to switch over. Well, scholarship, now you're walking away from your service, so that's a whole different question. They won't be, you're walking away from your service scholarship to another service, so unless you have a scholarship waiting over there, which is not likely, you probably cannot do that.
Let's take one more.
Do you have to purchase books through the bookstore, or can they be purchased elsewhere?
Do you have to purchase books in our bookstore?
I would say no. You can get them wherever you need, wherever.
Can I just add something to that? The only word of caution I would say is just make sure that it is the correct edition of the book. And I know sometimes with a place like Amazon, you might order it and it's the incorrect edition, and then you may not be able to get a refund. So as long as the edition is the correct one, then that's fine.
When we go to the Hall of Valor, as you'll see, there are tables set up with, just walk around, and a lot of offices there. Restrooms are in the lobbies area of both floors and also in the far corner.